Hi everyone, we're in the 2010s, it's our final Thermomix Through the Decades video, and I am here dressed as an iconic creature from the 2010s. Obviously, I'm a Minion from Despicable Me, and I have a really exciting guest coming on later who I think you'll all recognize from the first lockdown, and I'll leave it to your imaginations as to who that could be. But for now, we're gonna get stuck in with our recipe for today, which you voted for, and it is gnocchi with sausages and steamed spinach and some delicious apricots drizzled with honey and steamed with walnuts and thyme. So we're gonna go straight in with the apricots. I am gonna remove my gloves, which is probably against Minion protocol, but I don't know that they're exactly food safe. So those are coming off, and I'm going to grab 2 sheets of baking parchment. I've prepped all of my ingredients beforehand, so I've got some lovely ripe apricots, which I've just halved, and we're just going to distribute these between our 2 parchment paper squares. They're about 30 centimeters big, but as long as you can wrap them nice and tightly, it doesn't really matter what size they are. So I've got 4 halves in one and 5 in the other, which is perfectly fine. And now we're going to drizzle over our honey. It's about 20 grams, but I'm just doing it to eye. Also, very much depends on how ripe your apricots are. If you've got lovely ripe apricots, you don't need as much honey for sweetness. I've got my walnuts, which I've roughly chopped. So this is one of those amazing TM6 inventions now that we're into the modern age, and it means that we can start doing multiple courses in one recipe. So this is going to be our dessert, and then we're going to have our delicious gnocchi for our main course. Right, and thyme. So the recipe specifies lemon thyme, but if you can't get hold of it, you can use normal thyme. It'll just be a slightly stronger flavor. And if you wanted to substitute for that citrus note from the lemon thyme, you could put in a couple of shavings of lemon zest as well. So those are done, and now we're just going to wrap them up and place them in our Varoma dish for later. So wrap them however you want. I'm just scrunching up the sides nice and firmly like this. You just want to make sure that they're not going to open up and leak out all of those delicious apricot juices while they're cooking. So exactly like that, just a neat little parcel. Very easy. And the other one, exactly the same. Scrunch up those edges really firmly. There we go. Perfect. And now those are going to go into our Varoma dish, as I said, and we're just going to set them aside for later. So just make sure you're leaving some holes exposed so that the steam can circulate nice and evenly and cook those all the way through. We want them to be nice and soft with a slight firmness so that when you have a bite into it, the apricot comes apart, but it isn't completely mushy. So Varoma being set inside, and now we're going to make our gnocchi. So we're going to go straight in with our Parmesan cheese, and we're going to grate that for about 9 seconds, just until it's really finely grated. Just listen out, because you can always hear when your Parmesan's done when there's no more resistance against the blades. So I think mine is done, and it is, so that's great. And we're just going to transfer that to a little bowl for now and set it aside. And now the recipe does say to clean your mixing bowl, but I don't think that's absolutely vital, because we do want that Parmesan flavor to infuse with all of our other ingredients. So I'm putting it straight back in, and now we're going to go in with our onion, just nicely quartered, and our olive oil. So those are going in together, and we're just going to chop them for 5 seconds at speed 5. And our sausage meat is going in next. So I've just got some really lovely free-range organic Cumberland sausages, pork sausages. I think pork works best here, but if you'd like to use chicken sausages or beef sausages, you're obviously welcome to. Scraping down the sides of my mixing bowl with my spatula and going in with my sausage meat. All I've done is removed the sausage meat from its casings and roughly broken it into pieces so that it'll cook nicely and evenly. So if you have some chunks that are a lot bigger than others, they'll cook at a different rate. So try to ensure that all your sausage pieces are roughly the same size. And now we're going to cook those for 3 minutes at 120 degrees on speed 1. So a nice high heat for that initial cooking phase. And the speed one will mean that it will slightly break down our sausage a bit more, which is what we want. Okay, so I can smell delicious sausage frying, some onions in there, all the best kind of smells. And it looks like it's getting there in terms of being cooked. So I'm just gonna scrape down the sides of my mixing bowl again. And now I'm going to go in with my button mushrooms, which I've just quartered. So those are going in. 100 grams of baby spinach, just washed and dried. That's going in. Your mixing bowl might look very full at this point, but it's supposed to, and it will cook down. So finally, a teaspoon of soy sauce, which might seem odd, but all it's going to do is bring a really lovely kick of umami flavor to this dish. So that's going in, and it also adds a nice kick of salt. But for my personal preference, I'm going to add another teaspoon of salt, because it is quite a lot of spinach and mushrooms. Obviously completely up to you if you want to do the same. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of coarsely ground black pepper, which can only ever improve any savory dish, I think. So that's going in. And now we're going to cook that for 7 minutes, also at 120 degrees, speed spoon this time to just stir everything as it cooks rather than breaking it down further. And of course, if you are cooking this at different times of years when potentially apricots are not in season, you can use any stone fruit you like. Peaches would be lovely, nectarines would work, so would plums. So try to use what's in season and what's around you at that moment. So that's done. We're going to transfer that over to a lovely big bowl. And then we're going to cook our gnocchi and our apricots simultaneously. So everything is cooked down, smells absolutely delicious. Just make sure you get every bit out of the mixing bowl. The spinach does tend to like to stick around the blade, so just ensure that you get every little bit out. And then you don't need to wash your mixing bowl once again, because any flavor that's infused in the steaming water will rise up and help to infuse our gnocchi with flavor as well. So we're going in with 1,000 grams of water. And a nice loaded teaspoon of sea salt. And now we're going to insert our simmering basket. There we go. And we're going to put in our 400 grams of gnocchi. So that's going in. And very simply popping on our mixing bowl lid, but removing the measuring cup. We're going to put our covered Varoma on top with our apricots inside, and we're going to steam that for 12 minutes, Varoma at speed 2. There we go. Set this aside somewhere where you can keep it warm, cover it with some tin foil, because we're going to mix it all together at the end. Right, so that's finished. I'm now going to remove my gnocchi. I've just set my Varoma with the apricots aside. So take out your simmering basket using your spatula just to make sure that you don't burn yourself. And we're just going to pop it open and empty this out into our bowl with the sausage mixture. So there we go. Lovely. And give that a nice stir in. And now we're going to garnish this with our Parmesan, a bit more salt and pepper, and we're going to dish up and serve. So I've dished up a lovely portion of gnocchi. I'm going to give this a taste now, and then I'm going to invite our special guest on for dessert. So generous amount of our grated Parmesan, a nice dusting of black pepper, and let's give it a try. That is really tasty. I think one of my favorite things about the TM6 is that you can cook so many things at once. So we've minced up our lovely sausage mixture, we've simmered it down, it's infused all that flavor in with the onions. We've then cooked our gnocchi in the simmering basket. We've blitzed up our Parmesan cheese, and we have our apricots on the side ready to serve for dessert. It truly is an amazing innovation of the 2010s. So, time for our special guest to come on for dessert. I've just done a very quick clean down because I want everything to be meticulous for our celebrity guest. More than anything, my reasoning for this is that if I don't give her a really lovely dessert experience, she might just feed me to one of her pets. So here she is, it's Carol Baskin.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Here she is. Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for coming to have dessert. And thank you for bringing your friend. What's his name?
Timmy.
This is Timmy.
It's Timmy the tiger.
He's lovely, a lovely tiger cub.
Thank you.
No apricots for Timmy. We'll have to give him a steak later. But for you and I have some beautiful honeyed apricots with walnuts and thyme. How does that sound?
That sounds delicious.
Let's go for it.
Wow, you can really smell all the flavours. The lemon thyme, was it put in it as well?
Yes, it's all there. I don't know if you can see everyone, but these look delightful. Carol, I will let you do the honours, and I really hope you like them.
Wow. It's such a lovely portion size as well.
It is, it's perfect for one person.
Some walnut.
It's probably a starter for a really hungry tiger, but for us, it's more than enough. Is that good? Oh, I'm so happy and quite relieved. Let me give it a try.
The softness of the apricots, and then you still got the bit of the crunch from the walnut. That is beautiful and so fresh and light.
That is delicious. Gosh, I'm so happy that I managed to impress Carol Baskin. Truly the biggest celebrity we've had on this show. So thank you so much for coming, Carol.
You are most welcome.
And for everyone watching, we're so glad that you followed along on our Thermomix Through the Decades journey, all the way up to the modern era of the TM6, and coming later this year,
The Thermomix friend as well.
nothing could pair together better than a TM6 and a Thermomix friend. And with these two in your kitchen, you've got your head chef, you've got your sous chef, and a world of culinary possibilities ahead of you. So get excited to buy your Thermomix friend, and thank you for watching once again.
Jules, before we finish, I have one very important question.
Yes, what is it?
What was your favourite recipe of all the decades that
Ooh.
we've done? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Gosh, it's true. She didn't give me any forewarning that this was coming. Wow, I don't know. I think I really loved the 70s and 80s just because it was so outside of my realm of experience, and it was amazing to step back into those decades. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to say the wind-blown cake.
Really?
I know it was a simple recipe, but it was a beautiful sponge, and it was definitely a crowd pleaser. What about you?
It was a tough one. The mystery soup, way back at the beginning, was an experience.
It was interesting.
Because it was literally all
It
the
was
leftovers.
interesting.
But I think Barbara's biscuits will always have a place in my heart.
Barbara's biscuit. That was my favorite costume. The 80s costume was the one for me. But I have to say, your costume today is the best costume of the era.
Thank you. Well, you did 2010, so I did right up to present day. So
There we
as
go.
you can see, TM6 is right up to present day and beyond.
Yay! I'm so happy that we ended on this high note of having a tiger, Carol Baskin, and a Minion in one video. Thanks again, and happy cooking.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for cooking with me today, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Thermomix UK and Ireland. Thanks so much, and see you again soon.